Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, Say What's Real TV. This review is for the mid-season finale for Tyler Perry's Zatima Season 2, Episode 10, The Good with the Bad, now streaming over on BET+. So we open up the episode where we left off with Zach and Fatima trying to backpedal Miss Gladys over to the sofa. Miss Gladys came in, bloodied all up with a head injury, drunk as a skunk. So Zach, he's trying to keep her alert, make sure she's okay. He's panicking. Jeremiah, he over there chilling like a villain with his foot all cocked up on their table while Fatima, about to throw her back out trying to help his mama get over there to the sofa. But Zach is like, what happened to her? Jeremiah claims the lady fell down the stairs. And Zach said they need to get her to the hospital. Jeremiah said, well, that's why I brought her over here. Basically for you to do it. Like, you take care of your mama. Jeremiah said he's sick and tired of her getting drunk all the time and falling down the steps. Like, he's done with it. Zach still keeps trying to wake Miss Gladys up and make sure she doesn't fall asleep. And he's begging for help, looking at Jeremiah like, come on, man, help me. Because, I guess he hasn't been in that situation before with her. And Jeremiah looked at him like, man, please. Jeremiah got up, lit a cigarette in their house, and slightly and politely walked right out the damn door like it was nothing. Like, that ain't none of my mama. And he hauled ass. So while still panicking, Zach, he was just trying to keep his mom up. And she's just blurting out stuff, babbling in and out. So she sees Fatima and she's like, oh, it's you. Jeremiah told me all about you and how you took all of Zach's money and keeping him from the family. Telling her that she don't like light-skinned bees because they are evil. She said, I like that other one. What's her name? And she says that she likes Karen. And you could tell that Fatima felt some kind of way about that, but I guess she wanted to respect her elder in this particular situation, so she just kept it pushing. They are really going to have to stop disrespecting her for absolutely no reason. She has done nothing to his friends or his family to deserve them to just blatantly disrespect her like that, like for real. So Miss Gladys, she ends up passing back out. And in that moment, it just seemed like Zach was so defeated and so distraught as if he felt like he was losing his mom or something again. It was kind of sad the way he dropped his head, though. So we go over there to the hospital. We got Zach and Fatima over there waiting to see what's up with Miss Gladys. And Fatima, she's trying to make sure Zach is okay. So he's talking to her about his mom and saying how she was never there for him and how she chose to crack over him, which they've had this conversation before. But it seems like now he's saying it out loud and getting angrier the more he thought about it. And it seemed to me like he started lashing out at Fatima, using her for a little punching bag in a sense. She's trying to say, different positive things like, she just needs some help and this and that. Zach didn't want to hear any of that. He's like, well, I told you not to come. I guess basically Zach maybe wanted to just sit to himself and just think about what was going on. I guess pretty much in silence. But, Fatima, she keeps, kind of poking, just trying to be positive about the situation. And he really didn't want to hear any of it, not about getting his mom help because he feel like Miss Gladys don't want the help anyway. She don't give a F. And he's like, I told you not to come. Like, why did you come? Like, you and Jeremiah out here doing what y'all want to do. He just basically went off on her and told her in so many words just to leave. Like, just leave. He didn't want her there. And he's, jerking her off him. She tried to touch him. I'm like, child, no. I would have been gone. He wouldn't have had to worry about me. My feelings would have definitely been hurt. And you can tell Fatima's feelings were hurt. She just packed up a little purse and just, she ended up leaving. She goes out and called Dr. Reed. Why? I don't know. Like, I just felt like that just would have made things worse. Like, but she calls him, explains to him everything that took place. And he said he would come out to talk to Zach at the hospital. So she basically gave him the information he needed to get there to see him. So we head over there to Angela's house. And I'm not sure why we're over at Angela's house. And we see Bryce in her kitchen. Like, we clearly saw Bryce leave after he gave up the key. She was on the phone with Fatima a few times after he left. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, thanks for letting me sleep on your couch because I was too drunk to drive home. So were you just sitting outside in the driveway drunk and she happened to see you and went and got you and told you to go get on the sofa? Because otherwise, no. But anyway, we really didn't need this scene because why? Like, what was the point? He basically asked her over again, was there any chance they can, get back together or try it again? And she said absolutely not. He pretty much blew it. So it is what it is. And I mean, again, they give me like Sabrina and Calvin vibes. Like, we don't need much of them. They're okay, every now and then. We already got closure on what we needed to. There's no need to keep pounding the pavement with this same thing, asking her the same question every 5 minutes about being with you when she clearly told you that's not what she wanted. So Angela was able to get rid of Bryce because her phone rings and it's Fatima, so she basically sends him on his way. So Fatima on the phone talking about she's sitting outside the hospital in the car and tells her everything about Gladys being drunk and high and how Zach kicked her out the hospital. He didn't want her there and she called Dr. Reed. I'm like, girl, why do you tell every single detail about everything? And she done called Angela so much in the last several hours. Angela just say, well, what now? Like, damn, like she calling every other hour on the hour for what? But anyway, Angela was being a friend still. She was like, well, do you need me to come over there with you and all of that? And she told her no. So Angela was like, well, call me if you need me. And which is fine, but I don't understand how Fatima came across as being a certain type of way. But now we see her here in Zatima season 2. And to me, it's just really giving real needy. Like every 5 minutes she's calling Angela. And that's just not how Fatima was portrayed to us in Sisters. Fatima like one of those type of friends that'll call you with all the problems they going through and tell you all the bad things about the guy. And then you start not liking the person and then wonder why you don't like them. And then they don't ever leave them. They stick by him and stay with the man. And now you got to sit there and be looking at them with the side eye because she done told you all the dirt. Like, some of that stuff you need to just start keeping to yourself. Like, if you're not going to break up with them and you still going to be with them, stop telling all your business. So we go back over there to the hospital and the doctor comes out to give Zach an update on Miss Gladys. So she tells him that they went ahead and stitched her up. And she said that Miss Gladys told her that she fell, but she can clearly see that she was drunk and had track marks in her arm. And I'm trying to figure out, so what are you trying to say, doctor, that she didn't fall because you can't fall when you're drunk or got track marks? Like, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say somebody beat her up? Because that's what I want to know. So the doctor gives Zach this card and tells him that it's a number that can get her some help. And Zach wants to know when he can take her home. The doctor says that they want to watch her for a few more hours because Miss Gladys was back there complaining about her legs was hurting and they want to just watch her for blood clots. So, she ended up leaving and, Zach decided, well, she did tell Zach that he can go back there and see her if he wanted to. And he said, no, he was just going to sit out there in the waiting room for right now. So Dr. Reed, he finally makes it over to the hospital. When Zach sees him, he gets annoyed like, oh, Lord. And Dr. Reed tells him, look, Fatima did call me and, had to let Zach know she really does love you. Zach questions that and says he doesn't know about that nowadays. Like, whatever, child. So he sits down to talk to Zach and says, can he, ask him a few questions? Zach was like, well, you're here now. And I think that Zach really kind of wants to open up to Dr. Reed. I think he likes him. He was very receptive of, the things that he was saying to him in the beginning.
So when you have something that's going great, you sabotage it. I'm not sabotaging. Just listen. You don't even realize that you're doing it. I'm going to get as much as I can out of all of it because it's going to end regardless. That's that little boy voice telling the man that you are today that you ain't good enough. That you're not worthy enough of having anything good.
So I really thought we were getting somewhere. I mean, it was a good conversation, a good flow. Zach was actually listening and not, bulking up, acting all rough and tough and stuff. And for whatever reason, Dr. Reed decided that he was going to bring up the goddamn elevator scene and mention Paul's name. I said, I be damn. Why? Why? There was no need for that. All you had to say was the video went viral, so you could have just said that you saw the video of him being angry on the elevator. All of that, oh, Paul didn't deserve this and Paul didn't deserve that, and oh, I can't lie to my clients because Paul is my client too. Like, what? Where they do that at? Are you supposed to even tell that a person is your client? Like, no. So Zach, he instantly starts going the hell off. Like, I'm a street ninja. I've been in for 3 years. Now he back to, puffing his chest out and acting all rough and tough again. And it's like, you have to grow up at some point. You have to grow up. You really do. Start showing his insecurities, how jealous he is. But I get it. I wouldn't want to go to a therapist that somebody I knew was trying to get what my significant other recommended. I wouldn't want that either. But you got to handle situations better than what you do. You're a grown-ass man. You're not a child. But you sitting there sniffing all hard and wiping your nose with the back of your hand like a child. I don't need you. I don't need her either. I'm like, well, you look like a damn fool. I mean, just being real, real disrespectful to Dr. Reed, all that quack this and calling him out his name and ninja this, ninja that, like, all that was uncalled for. But I do blame Fatima and Dr. Reed in that situation because Fatima had 1,001 other therapists she could have chosen, and she decided she gonna choose what she, do what she want to do. So, hey, you reap what you sow with that. But Dr. Reed had no business bringing up Paul's name and all that. He's a friend of mine and all of that. Like, you knew better than that. So Nate and Tony, they end up going to the hospital, and they dap it up with Zach. And he's like, well, how did y'all know? And of course, Jeremiah told Nate. I mean, I don't know what kind of friendship those two got, because when I tell you everything that go on, Jeremiah is telling Nate, how is that possible? Yeah, like they pillow talking or something. That's kind of strange there. And I don't know how Jeremiah find out, because he up in Hall Dash. So I know damn well Zach ain't calling and tell him a damn thing. So anyway, they want to know how Miss Gladys doing. They checking on Zach, see how his mental is. Zach lying, putting up a front, talking about he good. It's a Zach attack, blah, blah, blah. Just trying to keep save face, knowing that he got a lot going on, but he don't want them to know all of that stuff. So all of a sudden you hear this voice, and it's Connie. And Zach, his face lights up like a goddamn Christmas tree. He is so happy to see her. He gives her the biggest hug ever. And he was like, well, how did you know? Like, she said, oh, because we was playing cards. So I guess we was Tony and Nate. Child, why is Connie there, y'all? Why is she there? So she sits down, still house Miss Gladys, blah, blah, blah. So she tells Zach that Miss Gladys been getting worse. So he said, you been seeing her? So she was like, oh, yeah, I was going to call you from her phone, but I didn't want you to think nothing crazy. So you see Nate and Tony look at each other like, So she's asking Zach how he's doing, and she's like, oh, I know you. But anyway, they get to talk about Miss Gladys and reminiscing, and she's like, oh, Miss Gladys, she's mad funny. And Tony says, yeah, she's always cracking jokes. And Zach said, yeah, and smoking crack. So they go through all of that. And some kind of way, Connie makes Nate and Tony leave. Basically tells them they can go. She got this. She gonna sit there with Zach. And because he wanted, he basically told them he good. He really ain't want nobody there. But they were like, you good? Tony wasn't going to leave. Nate was all with it. He like, yeah, let's go. So, they end up leaving, and it's just Zach and Connie. So we see Zach. He got his head on Connie's shoulder, all nestled up. They all hugged up like they this little loving couple. And I have a problem with this because you are engaged. You have a fiance that was there trying to support you, and you turned her away. You pushed her away and told her to leave, but you got your raggedy ass sitting up in here, laid up with some heifer that you used to be having sex with.
Hell no, to the no. Hell to the no.
I got a major problem with that, but you caught a major attitude and acted a whole damn donkey when you saw her on the elevator with Paul. Man, get the hell up out of here. So Fatima, she walks in and she goes up there like, what the F is this? This man sucks his teeth. I said, oh, hell no, he didn't. As if she was interrupting what they got going on, like she bothering them. And she sucked her teeth back like, really? And she said, and kind of talk about, who is this? She said, who is this? So they going back and forth, and he talks on this Fatima, all nonchalant, like a nobody. And she said, oh, you the auntie. Fatima like, yeah, I'm the auntie and all of that, all the auntie. So Zach says, oh, this ain't about y'all, this about my mama. She's sick. If I was in there, if I was Fatima, baby, I would have been like, mofo, I don't give a damn about your mammy being sick. You're not going to use that to disrespect me, mofo. No, you're not. That's what we're not going to do. Now, I said I was done with Zach after he got caught walking out of Deja's house for the second time rock hard. But you better bet your ass, when I would have came back to check on his raggedy ass and he had Connie up in there after he done kicked me out, I really would have been done with him after this scene right here. So he introduces the both of them, and Fatima is like, oh, so you're Connie. And she looks at Zach. Connie looks at Zach like, oh, what have you told her about me? And that's what I want to know, because Fatima seemed like she just think that they're friends, like just platonic friends, childhood friends or something. So what exactly does she know? Because there's no way in the world Zach could have told her that they were having all this mad, passionate, wild sex back in the day or whenever, and Fatima is that cool about it. Not to mention, if she thought it was nothing, why when he was on the phone with her in the grocery store, Zach lied and said that it was some dude? If she know who Connie is, that don't make sense. And Connie been trying to hunch him the last few days on the basketball court and in the grocery store, grabbing his balls, licking his sweat off his ear. I mean, now he all hugged up with him. And we just cool with that? We all right with that? So she said, oh, so I see you got your little friend here, but you didn't want me here. That's cool. I'm going to get ready to go to my parents' house. Now, first of all, you wouldn't have known where I was going at, because I wouldn't have told you a goddamn thing. That ain't none of your goddamn business. And that was just too much dialogue for me, because if you weren't going to pop off, you should already been walking out the door, because it wasn't nothing else to be said. So the doctor comes back out and sees Zach. He gets up and she's like, oh, you guys came back? Zach says, what are you talking about? She tells Zach that Miss Gladys checked herself out of the hospital like hours ago. So Zach is like, God damn, like, you know, this is what she does. So the doctor looking a little awkward, because I guess she knows it's like the drugs. So she tells him that she's sorry and she walks off. So Connie is over there like, oh, we're going to find her, and telling him he should come back to her house, and still talking about what they used to do and all that. And Zach standing up there once again, not really putting his foot down, but looking like, yeah, I might just do that. But then he ends up telling her, I can't, Connie. And she runs behind him like, oh, like you really should think about it. Like, girl, go sit your ass down. So we get over there to Fatima's parents' house, and we see Fatima sitting on the sofa stiff as a board, like she's scared to move. I mean, who goes to their parents' house and don't be all over the place talking like you still live there or something? She acting like if she move wrong, she gonna get a whooping or something. And Mona was like, is everything all right? You know, did you call him? And she said she don't think he gonna show up. But then here is a knock at the door. The dad goes open the door. It's Zach. He shakes his hand. He comes in. So Mona talk about, you remember me? I'm like, Mona, it was just the other day when you met him. Like, it was just the other day, girl. He was like, yeah, I remember you. And the dad was like, well, you know, Fatima hasn't told us a lot about you. So, of course, Zach looking at her, but hell, you already knew that. So Zach was like, well, what you want to know? Well, Mona said, well, before that, Mona was like, I had to do some research and I didn't find out anything good. And Fatima like, mm-hmm. I'm like, well, what that's supposed to mean? So Mona was like, well, we might as well tell them. And Fatima said, this is not the time. So what did they find out? So that means Fatima already knows what was found. And so, I mean, what do y'all think it is? Because the mom already told Fatima apparently, but they still have yet to tell us. So, Zach was like, well, what y'all want to know? She said, well, let's start with your arrest. So he tells them that he did 3 years in prison and he's looking around like, yeah, y'all got some nice stuff up in here. I might just spin the block. So now he being facetious and just saying any kind of thing out his mouth at this point because now he really don't give a damn. And, Fatima, she over there trying to stop him. He's like, no, I'm not holding nothing back now, since somebody want me to see a therapist. And then he looking at her talking about how, Paul recommended the therapist and, Fatima looking crazy. So I feel like Zach goes into this whole little rant where he feels like everybody's judging him. He says he has to be reminded every day like he's not good enough. Why? Just because he had a rough life. Like everybody had a rough life except y'all. Like he think they feel like they high and mighty looking down on him or something. And probably Mona is out of anybody. And I don't know why he feels like Fatima looks down on him because he cannot possibly believe that. This lady met you on a bicycle, a bike. You were broke. You had nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why would she be judging you? Why would she still be with you? Why would she even accept an engagement ring from you if she did not care and love your raggedy ass? Stop the foolishness. We're not going. All you trying to do is deflect, play victim. You're playing victim right now. We don't do pity parties. We don't. Because you don't believe half the crap that you're talking about. And it's just stupid at this point. Because really, I feel like you shouldn't even took your ass over there. That's number one. So then he like, I might as well go back to where, basically trying to say he might as well be around people that like Nate and Tony and Connie and all of them. Because, they appreciate him and can accept him for who he is type shit. And he gets up talking about, I'm good on all this. And Fatima like, Zach, don't do nothing crazy. Don't do nothing stupid. And he like, the only stupid thing I ever did was think that somebody like you could ever love somebody like me. And I'm like, Zach, get the hell up out of here with that. Don't nobody want to hear all of that. Because again, you don't even believe that. And Fatima sitting up there talking about don't do nothing stupid. First of all, him being at the hospital, sitting up there, laid up there with Connie was dumb enough for me. And I don't even know why you even cared if he showed up to your parents' house or not, because I would have told your raggedy ass don't even bother to show the hell up. So after Zach leaves, Fatima says she has to go and tells Mona, she didn't have to be doing all that. And, Mr. Henry, he tries to talk to Fatima and give her some sound advice. He seems to be the more reasonable parent, even though we know that's her stepfather, maybe or maybe not, who knows. And Mona, she has to chime in and say something, bring up Fatima's real dad again. Like, that's all she does, talk about how the real dad wasted her time and did this and did that. Like, she is still bitter from that. Fatima damn near 40 years old and you still talking about her real daddy? Mr. Henry been taking care of her since she was 9 and you still hurt from the way that her real dad treated you? Lady, you gonna have to get over that. So she telling Fatima, oh, Zach pretty much not the one. Don't let him waste your time because I know you want kids and a good man. Basically like he not it. Like, Mona, be quiet. Mr. Henry's sitting up there shaking his head or whatever. So Fatima, she ends up leaving. So when she goes out the door, Mr. Henry looks at Mona and was like, you gonna have to tell her. And she says, I know. Now, why they gotta play in our face and don't tell us what it is? Like, we want to know. But now we gotta wait. Ugh. So we head back over there to Zach's old neighborhood. And we got Tony, Nate, and Connie. They're sitting there playing cards. And Zach, he rolls up, give daps or whatever to everybody. They tell him they saw his mom look like she's doing better. And he tells Connie, can I talk to you for a minute? And Connie like, yeah, go ahead. So she started playing cards. And Zach like, no, not right here, upstairs. She like, are you sure? And, he was like, yeah. So she get all happy looking at Nate like, ha ha. So she go upstairs with Zach. So Tony and Nate, they get to talking. And Nate says that it's over now. he feels like Zach getting ready to clap them cheeks finally. Tony says that he don't believe nothing's going to happen. So the both of them agree that they've been noticing that Connie may be using drugs. So Nate, he thinks about it, and they're like, Connie is the one girl that Zach compares all the other ones to, and they was like, oh yeah, you really messed up. So we go over there to Fatima's, and she's on the phone yet again talking to Angela about Zach. And she's telling her everything that the doctor said and talking about his mom and how mean he's been to her. And she tells her that she doesn't know how to love him if he doesn't get the proper help. So she basically saying, you got to get to know people because the real them come out later on. And Angela wants to know where Zach is now. She always want to know that. And Fatima thinks that Zach is at the hospital checking Miss Gladys out. So she gets a knock on the door and she tells Angela, look, I'll call you back. And she goes to the door. She's like, who is it? She says, it's Gladys. So Fatima opens the door and Miss Gladys come in there talking about Zach here. She like, no, I thought he was at the hospital with you. So then she gonna talk about, he was at Connie's house, so I thought he'll be back by now. And I came to ask for some money. And, just trying to be funny. Well, first of all, let's back up. How did Miss Gladys get over there to Zach them house? And how does she know her way over there? She only been there one time when Jeremiah took her there and she was out like a light, drunk as a skunk. So how would she know her way over there and how did she get there? That don't make sense. But anyway, they got her leaving the hospital, leaving the grocery store like on foot. She just traveling on Tom and Jerry like that? Child, no. So basically, she asked Fatima for $50, and Fatima told her, I don't keep cash on me in the house like that. And she gonna mumble under her breath, but Jeremiah told me you was a bitch. And like, how you gonna come in the girl house and still just, talk to her crazy like that, but you need some money? That don't make no sense. So she was like, I know you got some money, and I know you ain't talking to me like that or something. And then all of a sudden, here comes Zach coming through the door. So Zach come in there, and Miss Gladys was like, hey, Zach, like, what you doing here? And Zach said, this my place. What you doing here? Miss Gladys say, I came to get some money, but this bitch still calling Fatima out her name. And Zach says, hold up. So I'm thinking he getting ready to say, don't be disrespecting her and stop calling her out her name like that. He says, oh, I'm not giving you no more money. And Miss Gladys was like, well, how does she let you go? And Zach said, what are you talking about? He said, I'm going to tell it. I know you was over there at Connie's house because you was over there for hours and I saw y'all effing. And you going to give me some money or what? Zach like, Ma, just go home. I'll call you. Just go home. She started cursing, F you, F it, and just stormed out the door. Of course, Fatima standing there with her arms folded looking like, what is she talking about? So she asked him like, did you F her? Like, look at me. Like, and he's standing there looking at her all stupid in the face like he's not going to say a word. Like, he feel like he don't have to answer any damn thing. So she said, okay, got it. She grabbed her purse and stuff, and she said, Zach, we're done. And she proceeded to walk out the door and hauled ass. He still stood there looking crazy like, it is what it is. So, and the episode ended there. This was the mid-season finale for season 2 of Zatima. So now we got to take us a little break. Don't know how long this is going to be. Hopefully not for long. So what do you guys think about this particular episode? What are your thoughts about the first 10 episodes of the season so far? Do you guys think that Zach actually slept with Connie? Do you think Fatima is serious about taking a break from Zach or breaking up with him? What are your thoughts? Drop down below and let me know. As always, you guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll catch you when we come back from this little hiatus. Peace.